the celebration. I watched bits and pieces on Sky News. It was a proper celebration. When Man City have a celebration, 2 or 3 people rock up and go, "Hey, well done, man."
And you do very well with seeing people injured. I think as a hard news journalist, I've seen enough dead people, raped people, mincemeat people. For a lifetime.
It's just.
It doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well.
It just makes me. I'm just angry. And
yeah, because why would you want to hurt the next human being?
Yeah, and you've got a car. As a cyclist, and I know say cars always win the fight between cyclists and pedestrians. And it's a 1.5-ton vehicle coming at them. He's lucky he hasn't killed anybody. I know he's been arrested. He will be arraigned, and I hope he does time in jail for this.
It is sad, and from afar, just wishing everybody a speedy recovery there. If we take a look at what's happening, Manchester United's dismal season. I mean, do we need to go there? Finishing 15.
But actually, Christian Eriksen is leaving. He's been reflecting on this, and he says he reckons that Ruben Amorim will build a very different team. It's going to take a lot of money.
It is, and what is it, 100 million that he has for now?
Which is nothing.
Yes, you're going to need way more than that to build a different team.
So he's going to have to start selling players. Can they get 40 million for Marcus Rashford? Can they get 40 million for Garnacho, who apparently is on his way out already, even though he's joined the team on the tour of the Far East. Eriksen is out of contract, so is there's one other who was out of contract, so they're leaving. But they reckon that I think America is prepared to do them mad. He apologised to Manchester United fans, said he was sorry, apologised to his players for being harsh on them at times.
I still wonder if it is that Amorim is the man for the job. When we chatted to Miguel the other day as well, we kind of had question marks and said, maybe he stays, but the worst position in over 50 years, and you're responsible for that as the coach. Like, your name goes down in history. A sad one. Shall we move on to the Proteas?
Yeah, women's squad. I mean, I like this. They've got a white ball tour to West Indies. They'll be playing test matches, which is great. That's from the 11th to the 23rd of June, so from the end of not next week, but the week after. So they play also.
Really? 3 in June already? Yeah, we are almost.
3 ODIs and 3 T20s, not red ball cricket, so white ball cricket, Kevin. But that's 6 games.
So
tour.
Yeah, Marazon Cap, Ayanda Fluby, Miane Smit, just some of the names there.
Yeah, Marazon Cap is obviously the superstar. You watch this team play, it's almost like consistency of selection. The coaching is good. The way the players react to each other. There's also rumours about Dane from Ikeku, who's Cap's wife.
Yeah.
She may be coming back. So apparently she's playing provincial cricket again, looking good, and she's holding out hopes, 31, of making the next World Cup.
I love it because also it's the white ball here for Cricket South Africa women's team, and then also not forgetting from the 5th of July until the 26th of July we've got WAFCON. So we see Banyana in action out in Morocco. One of my favorite tennis players, Naomi Osaka, not quite, where she wants to be since coming back from maternity. But also, I also think, is there any pressure? She still thinks that she plays better now than what she did before she had a baby, because she says there's a motivator. I agree with that. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, didn't
Serena Williams
come back after pregnancy, after having a child, and still won I think she won her last Grand Slam.
And near death experience too.
Yeah.
Mind you.
Osaka, Emma Raducanu went through. She's been sick. She set up a meeting with Iga Swiatek in the next round. That's exciting to watch. So it's weird. As soon as the football season finishes, Roland Garros rolls in. So we got something.
Yeah, we do. We've got something to hold on to.
We've got one more PSL match tomorrow night, don't we?
Tonight.
Tonight? Is it tonight?
Yeah, Orlando Pirates versus Magesi.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. And that's
tomorrow. No, isn't it tonight?
That's tomorrow.
Tuesday.
It's tomorrow.
Oh.
It is tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we've also got the...
Hold on, and then there's playoffs also.
Oh, God. So it hasn't finished yet?
But it's on hold.
Oh. Because of the court case with Durban City.
I'll tell you now.
Okay.
I'll tell you now why.
Yeah. Carlos Alcaraz also in the second round at Roland Garros. Big names, Taylor Fritz, Naomi Osaka and Emma Navarro, obviously all out. Taylor Fritz, I was joking on the show about a good couple of months ago when I think he was doing well at the US Open, and I said, everyone's a Swiftie and everyone's a Taylor Swiftie.
Yeah.
I like him. I like the way he plays. I like his aggression. I think Osaka, she was still working on her mental health, working on her physical health, getting the form back. Djokovic, let's see what he can do. You know, he had a win in the tournament coming up, and he is.
Here we go. Playoffs on hold. So the new date for Super second half of the clash set to be played on Thursday, 29th May at noon. So that's this Thursday. The promotional playoffs, which are set to start on Tuesday.
It's been the weirdest PSL season ever.
I have to agree.
I mean, like as we said, you started with a delay, new sponsor, Royal AM, Sundowns get a new coach, then we come to promotion, and what happens? We have a delay.
And Riviero leaves.
Riviero leaves, yeah.
4 games to go.
Chiefs don't finish in the top 8. You know, it has
Second
been
season in a row.
absolutely most bizarre
Like Nubby
season.
says, I actually watched the entire post-match interview of Coach Nubby yesterday.
Yeah.
Where basically the presenters asking questions like, a dismal season, look where you finished. And all the coach could say is FIFA recognizes 2 trophies, the league and then Confed. But I was just like...
No, that sounds like a...
And then the presenter pushes again, and he's just like, finished the 10-year drought, and FIFA recognizes 2 trophies. And I was just like, but you've got to own up for the dismal season.
Yeah.
We see the Nedbank Cup, right? But come on,
He did say his rigidity and his absolute weddedness to his ethos and his game plan that he wants to play. He said, we want to play a certain style of football. We don't want to win. And I said, what? We don't want to defend to win. We don't want to park the bus. I said, you play to win,
Yeah.
Titles
There's
are in the
gotta
playing, not the winning. Or winning, not the playing, rather.
You've got to own up for the dismal season too.
No,
You can't just ride on the cup glory and the 10-year drought, which is now ended. We see that. And the rest?
Yeah.
And the rest?
Yeah. I see he's saying that he's been getting phone calls from overseas clubs because South African media have been reporting he's going. So he's not very happy with that. I mean, everyone's calling me, because you guys, eh? Yeah.
Maybe it's just a hint, indirectly, like hi.
And it's going to be an interesting off season for the PSL. I mean, who's going to coach at Pirates? Who's going to coach at Chiefs? Is there going to be change? Who's going to come up? Who's going to go down?
Look, I also think that there's a friendly, not forgetting, for Bafana in this time. There are no players called up from Sundowns for these friendlies with Coach Hugo, and he has actually looked at the younger talent.
I saw that.
The ones that are up and coming, and he's all for playing the younger player, and giving them the opportunity so that they have that going into big games.
Yeah, no, big time.
Prince Ndweni, coming up after this break.
We're going to be speaking to you about
Prince
F1
Ndweni.
and Monaco.
Yes, correct. And the
Monaco.
past 7 races and the overtaking problem.
Is Monaco the most famous and the most rubbish Grand Prix of the season?
It's also
a bit of math.
It's beautiful though.
But so is Kim Kardashian, and she's thick as... Sorry.
Okay, all of
Over
that
the break.
and more with Prince Ndweni after this.
This is Omnisport Africa. We are putting African sport first, live and on demand on your phone, data free on the MTN network in South Africa. T's and C's apply, and online at omniaudio.africa. Because reading about it tomorrow won't help you today. When we created Omnisport, we wanted you to hear from Africa's greatest sports journalists. In South Africa, there was only one choice.
No big deal.
Omnisport proudly presents Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes.
Whatever that Chiefs can do, it would seem Mamelodi Sundowns can do better.
With over 3 decades as one of South Africa's most talented, decorated, and astute soccer journalists, Brad Jakes is the man the players, coaches, team owners, and officials listen to.
This is a brave man.
Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes, exclusive to Omnisport, where Africa comes to play.
Now that's a garage match.
Listen live now and on demand at omniaudio.africa.
So as promised, Monaco has an overtaking problem, and does he agree or doesn't he? Prince Ndweni, F1 podcaster, on the line. Prince, in your opinion? Is Prince there?
Prince, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep, can you hear me?
Awesome, yes, loud and clear. Monaco Grand Prix, overtaking problem. We agree, right?
100%. I think if you didn't agree, you'd be getting a serious bag from F1. That's the only possible reason you disagree with that. But yeah, I think year after year it just gets worse. The cars get bigger. They depend more and more on aerodynamic forces. And Monaco is the track that's just always going to expose that. I think it's a difficult concession to make that, in essence, Monaco it's a heritage track, and it's more for the festive vibe, really. It's more than just a race. It's really leaning towards it being about attending the race, being in the presence of the richest of the rich, the 1% of the 1%. And the race is literally just a jewel in the entire crown. So, yeah, racing-wise, you're not going there looking to be overtaken.
So, but can they change it? I mean, they tried the 2 stops, that obviously didn't work. I see George Russell, he decided to cut the chicane. And with the chicane, he actually managed to go quick with the cutting of the chicane. David Coulthard actually suggested that when Russell did that they should give each driver a joker lap. So they can cut the chicane for like 3 of those during the race. And that might help some overtaking, because there's nowhere to overtake.
Yeah, no, there absolutely isn't. And they're really going to have to get creative. But the thing is, Formula One is run by the old guard. In the sense that they really lean by the traditions of the sport that have been established from the beginning over 70 years ago. And it's going to take, I think, a new generation of people at the helm to sort of introduce ideas and make them more acceptable and relay the message from the younger audience, the audience that isn't quite satisfied with that kind or that lack of action. And get that on tables and in boardrooms so that these ideas can be taken on. But yeah, it's really plain to see. I think it does not take an expert or an analyst to see that Monaco is a problem when it comes to the racing and the racing drive. I mean, when you get to a point where you're expecting the same answer from each and every race driver, you become despondent as a fan because you know that the feedback, the energy that they bring you about what it's like being at the track is not going to be so great. So it's like, okay, what's the point of then watching this Grand Prix? I'll skip it and go to the next one, you know?
Yes, it's not a TV spectacle. Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry, carry on, Romy.
Yeah.
I just want to say, but doesn't it open a can of worms? Because if it is that we're going to be treating Monaco's Grand Prix differently based on the fact that the roads are so narrow, does it not open a can of worms that wherever else you go in the world, then tailor it to us too. Also make rules which apply to the next, the Italian one, the other one. Just really playing devil's advocate. But now it could be that every track now has its own set of rules based on the fact that you treat Monaco differently.
I don't know. Look, there is a possibility for that, but I don't know if tracks can get as slow as Monaco. Because the thing is, these cars need... The slowness of it is not necessarily about what we see with the naked eye. It's also about the window of performance that these racing drivers can get the car into. And Monaco falls short of that window. So that's why they complain so much about the slowness. Because I'll give you an example. There have been faster circuits that we've been to, and we as fans will complain that the race was boring. But the racing drivers seem rather excited about certain parts of the race. That's because that circuit allows for the cars to open up those parts of performance that it's capable of getting to if they push and break over that limit. Monaco falls embarrassingly short of that limit. And so you'll hear the driver saying, look, I should have... Alex Albon was saying he should have gone into the car with a pillow because he was falling asleep. Liam Lawson was saying it was difficult to concentrate because you're moving that slowly. Yeah, it's like driving through peak traffic on Kululis, you know? So that's what it's like for them, because it's like driving a civilian car as opposed to getting it into that mode where every single bit and component of the car is performing at its absolute best, and you're able to take more risks because it's performing at its optimum. So that's the difficulty there. And I think other circuits can, at least, even though it may seem boring and may seem like a bit of a precision, at least the cars, for example, like maybe Baku, there's a bit of width and it also is narrow. So it's a combination of the two. But you've got long enough straights for these cars to get into that sweet spot of performance, and the racing drivers feel like they're pushing their limits.
Yeah.
So with the other 23 venues, you can at least have that satisfaction as opposed to what's going on in Monaco.
Look, I don't see the Monaco Grand Prix going anywhere. I mean, I hear absolutely everything you're saying. You said something so nicely. It was that it is for the rich and famous. You're rubbing shoulders. You're seeing the Princess of Monaco and the Prince of Monaco there, you know, handing out the trophies. Lando Norris is over there, obviously winning that one. But isn't that what F1 is about? It's about the rich and the famous for the rich and famous. It is an elitist sport.
I think Monaco Grand Prix is like Kim Kardashian, you know, pretty but pretty useless.
Kevin.
Sorry. Getting on, so Lando Norris, Piastri. Neither of those is Kim Kardashian. Is it just between them, or is Verstappen still in the mix when it comes to the World Championship?
No, Max Verstappen is absolutely in the midst, because he's able to punch above his weight a lot of the time when it comes to that car.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen has this unique ability where he can take whatever he drives to its absolute best and then some. So you can find a little extra out of it, which is a very difficult thing to accomplish when you don't have the best equipment and you're in a sport that relies 80% on the equipment itself. So that's why you'll hear a lot of the time there's just this sense of respect for the ability that he has. And McLaren, on the other hand, they're in the lap of luxury when it comes to their car, because at most Lando and Oscar will complain about the car being unpredictable when it gets to the peak of its performance, which is a different problem. So they guarantee to get peak performance. The only issue is it might be unpredictable when it gets there. So it's two different things. But I'd say right now they're sort of at a level of parity in terms of how consistent either can be. That is the McLaren racing drivers and the Red Bull. Well, let's say Max Verstappen for now, because UK is still getting accustomed. But both of the stables are able to be a bit consistent in what they can achieve with what they have. I think we'll now be waiting for those little mistakes, those errors every now and then. That's really what's going to make the difference between. But right now, it's very tough to tell them apart with only a handful of points parting those racing drivers.
Prince, in your opinion, was it okay for my boyfriend to move to Ferrari, or is it too early to tell?
Okay, there's a lot of fundamental questions that we need to ask. For example, how patient is your boyfriend? We need to understand that, because it could be a long time. Look, I'm one of those hate. I was like, okay, before the ink had even dried, I was trying to rehearse the 4C anthems. So it's going to take a while, because Lewis Hamilton. I'll start with Lewis Hamilton because I think that's where the most work is. Charles Leclerc has at least a baseline of understanding the car and getting some performance out of it. Whereas with Lewis Hamilton, he's got a methodical, slow approach that takes a couple of years at a time. We saw it happen at all the teams he's gone to now. I think it was more fortunate when he started his career at McLaren at its peak. But when he went to Mercedes in full trim, that was a deliberate effort on his part to prove the naysayers wrong about him getting into the lap of luxury and winning straight away, saying you can't win with a slow car. He went into a slow car, made it fast, and then went on to win 6 championships. However, let's say 8 maybe. However, the issue is that took 8 years or so. That took 9 years. Do you think Lewis Hamilton has 8 or 9 years in him at Ferrari? Does Ferrari have 8 or 9 years to wait for, So, and of course, I'm not saying this is concrete. It's a possibility because of how we've seen him do it before. It may be a quicker turnaround time. Maybe Ferrari will find something that moves the car into that sweet spot we like to refer to a lot quicker for Hamilton. Then he applies his approach, and then it speeds the process up and turns it into half a season, a year, maybe a couple of years. But it really is looking more likely, just based on his style and his approach to things, that it will take time for him to get into that sweet spot. So, yeah, is your boyfriend a patient person? That's the fundamental question.
Yeah,
right
can't
now.
answer. Sweeter, better, faster is really what we want. Prince, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, agreeing with us there that Monaco has that overtaking problem. We're not seeing that Grand Prix go anywhere. That's for sure.
We won't. I mean, I see Tim Principals are asking for the track to be reconfigured. You know,
But where's the space?
that's exactly it. It's a bit problem when you've got a city that's between the mountain and the sea.
Correct.
You know,
I've never been, have you?
Yeah, twice.
Really?
Not to the Grand Prix, but I've been to Monaco
Oh,
twice.
nice. Lucky you.
It's expensive. Believe me, it's expensive. It's not a cheap place to go.
Kobani Bobo coming up. URC quarterfinals this weekend.
Yeah.
Not the sports news on OmniAudio.Africa with Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum.
Bobes, on the line. URC this weekend. Can the Bulls keep going at Loftus Fortress and Stormers win away from home?
Hi, morning, Kev. Morning, Romy. How you guys doing? Yeah, it is quarterfinal weekend, playoffs. Yeah, it's about time. You know what's the most depressing thing is when they show you the next year's fixtures. And you're like, oh my goodness.
Already, yeah.
Already? Like, why? I thought I was going to get surprised. But interesting enough, Storm is away to Glasgow. Glasgow side, which has lost a bit of form ever since that 42-0 drubbing of the Lions in that first half. Things have really fallen off. But the Stormers on the other side, a bit of Damian Willems issue, an incident, and the red card and the suspension. I mean, where are we going with these laws and where is the consistency? I think that's what people want out of that. Stormers, I think Stormers can sneak one in Glasgow, but it'll be about a whisker. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. Defending champions, I think maybe the defending champions will just make it a bit harder than the Stormers think it would be. And the Bulls, I think the Bulls have got their game on lock. Players understanding what they really want to get out of their performance and how they want to play. You can see with the control that they do have, there's much more clarity in how they're going about it. It's the right horse bolting at the right time for the URC and for the South Africans. I think the Bulls are in the form that is going to be quite difficult to beat them there.
What has Jake White done there with the Bulls, obviously, to build that maturity and consistency in the team?
I think at first he had to be realistic with his players. He had to tell them exactly what he expected out of them. I think with all of the competition that he's tried to create with his squad, and now the players who have finally sort of know that Johan Goosen won't be there. Keegan Johannes is the one that's going to be playing at 10. I think just calming that nerve and everyone understanding where they're going to go with that and how to use their players. He's built a squad now that's showing a lot of competition within the squad, which is good going to the playoffs, and they're in good form. Like I said, they're executing the right places, and Jake has to be commended for the fact that he got a team that was really starting to look not like the budget.
So there's no VAT increase on that either then.
Just an easy £10 million.
Is that what the first prize is in the URC? 10 million quid?
No, the 10 million prize was the comparison of that was done of the Investec Champions Cup. So if you think of a team like Toulouse, they're on 90, and the Bulls are trying to compete with their 10.
Wow, that's I mean, it's a difficult
so that's
thing.
the reality.
Just cannot compete. The Sharks, can they find some rhythm with their players? They're up and down all over the place for me.
Yeah. For me, the Sharks have been a team that has been struggling. But you know what? The one thing that they'll be so happy about is that they know how to win.
Yeah.
And it's key. We saw a Munster stumbling through to win the championship about 2 years ago. And now I think the Sharks, what they have is they know how to win. I mean, moving Apelele Fasi to 10 last week and him kicking for post, it just shows you how much they are willing to go the extra mile to win. Players want to step up at the right time. I think they rely a lot on their senior players and their Springbok players, the players with experience of winning. And those players will be asked again to fire this weekend because that's the only way. Munster, they've struggled. They've changed coaches. There's a lot of that's been going on around Munster. Their line-out has been shambles. That's how they got out of the Investec Champions Cup round robins. And they're going to find themselves in the cauldron down there in the Shark Tank. I don't think we're going to see the most enterprising rugby, but what we're going to see is a contest that is going to be about just winning and making sure you're playing in the right areas of the field. And then when you get into the 22 of the opposition, you make sure that you put points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for that, Bobo, and we'll chat again very soon. But as you said, it is going to be quite a contest out there. It starts on Friday, May 30th. Glasgow Warriors, DHL Stormers. Saturday, we're seeing Vodacom Bulls, Edinburgh Rugby, Leinster Rugby, Scarlets, Sharks, Munster.
Big weekend of rugby, big weekend of football, big weekend for Sundowns. But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
there we are. No, it's only Tuesday. You confused me there for a second.
Okay, I'm talking about the weekend.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll look ahead.
It's a little slow.
Okay.
Till tomorrow. Cheerio.
This is Omnisport Africa. We're putting African sport first, live and on demand on your phone.